Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today I review Appetites. True love has never been so deadly. Directed by Cameron Casey, starring Lauren Parkinson, Bret Roberts, Chris Cleveland, and Scott Barrows. This movie's about Daisy, a girl with a traumatizing past that has caused her and her brother to grow up as cannibals. She has an appetite for murder. And then we also have John Doe, who's a guy who travels from town to town with his guitar, playing songs, and taking home tattooed girls from the bar so that he can murder them. And then one day Daisy meets John, only to discover that his own lust for killing might make her his next victim. This is a recommendation from our top donator over on Patreon, Deke. This is a movie we actually did a trailer reaction to ages ago, and it did fairly well. It has like 30,000 views because, well, look at the thumbnail. This is less horror and more horror adjacent, as it primarily is just about these two people that kill, you know, hooking up and figuring out that each other kill. The concept is fun. I do enjoy that aspect where you have two killers that just hook up and they don't know if they can trust the other, especially when they find out that the other one is a killer. It's a fun idea that we've seen in other movies before, and it's great that the two killers have completely different motives, and it's just random. The movie as a whole does look pretty decent and had a reasonable production value, and I did enjoy the fact that a lot of it takes place during the daytime, which you don't see that often. It takes place in a desert, so there's no like building tension or anything like that. It's like, you know that this guy's a killer and you know that this girl's a killer, so it's no frills. You know exactly what's about to happen, and you're just waiting to see how it's all going to unfold. This is also a movie that, regardless of how bad you might think it is, and we'll get on to that in the dislikes, but it has a distractingly hot protagonist in Lauren Parkinson. She's just absolutely gorgeous. She's always wearing really short shorts and small shirts, and she just looks beautiful.
Damn, she's smoking.
She's just kind of like scantily clad. She looks badass as well, especially when she goes killing. She puts on some paint and she has like a different wardrobe, and she's brutal. And I really enjoyed what she did, but she definitely makes this better just by being attractive. I know that sounds really weird to say, but it's kind of like the Daddario effect. Like, I'll watch the worst movie, but if Daddario's in it, for some reason I'm just like completely zoned in. And the same is true here. I also liked a couple of the cameos that we had in Bonnie Rotten and James Duval. Bonnie Rotten, for obvious reasons, she's tattooed, you know she's gonna get killed by the guy, and the blood is pretty solid. There's not a lot of gore, but the actual death scenes, they still have somewhat of an impact, despite not being over the top. And James Duval's always great.
I'm sorry, but I got a brother to feed.
Unfortunately, that's where the likes come to an end. Basically, the beginning of this movie seems like it's on the right path. We have a couple decent kills from John Doe. We have a couple cool traps from Daisy. There's a couple sex scenes, and then it just stops. So this is an hour and 45 minutes long. And around like 40 to 45 minutes, all the reasonable stuff that would keep you invested is kind of out the window, because now this is where Daisy and John Doe meet for the first time, and they're getting to know each other and kind of fall in love, and it's just not really interesting. Like, there's basically no murders after that. It's just empty. Like, you really think it's going to be cool, and it just stops being cool. It doesn't help with the fact that like Daisy's accent is super annoying.
I love you, Bubba.
And it doesn't suit her appearance.
Keep up the pace. This little piggy nearly got away.
Sure, it might be suitable for a cannibal, but it just definitely seemed way off. The same can be said for her brother, who is Bubba, this big intimidating guy who doesn't talk. He's a mute and he just grunts and moans, but he's like a comedic character, even though he's the enforcer. I don't know why they tried to make him funny. It just didn't really work. And that could be said with like the whole movie. Like, it didn't work because they tried to inject comedy into nearly every aspect about it without this necessarily being a comedy movie. There are dark comedic elements throughout the whole movie, and they almost all fall flat. I didn't find it funny in any sense, and they continuously tried to make jokes that just didn't hit. I say this every time I knock a movie for comedy specifically, because it is the most subjective thing on the planet, but man, it was just like, it was brutal. If this wasn't recommended, and I didn't need to review it, I would have shut this shit off.
Now listen here, you fucking little midget. I can make your life more miserable than it already is.
Not only because of the comedy, but because it also got so boring. Like towards like the last half of the movie or longer, it's just like nothing really happens and it's just draining. And another big reason is because there is a big focus on John Doe, who is this like cool guy who's the other killer, the love interest of Daisy, and he's just such a unlikable, boring person. Just looking at him, he doesn't seem boring, and the fact that he does kill and he plays guitar makes him seem interesting, but he plays the guitar and like sings along and makes up songs for everything that he does, and I would bet that it accounts for 20 or more minutes throughout this whole movie. He does it so often. Nearly every scene that you see him in, he busts out a guitar and plays a song, and they last a few minutes each. And so you have multiple of these, and you're just like, by the second or third one, you're like, are you fucking kidding me? We're doing this again? It just keeps going, and it's just so frustrating to watch, especially if you don't like him. Like, if you liked him, you're probably just like eating it up and think his songs are great. And I'm sure there will be an audience for it. I am not that audience, and I was just so aggravated by everything that he did. Overall, I didn't enjoy this movie. Aside from a couple kills and a couple cameos, and just our lead looking good, there's nothing else really that decent about this movie. I just wasn't a fan. The comedy didn't work for me, and on top of that, I found all of our characters super annoying, to the point where I didn't care what happened, I just wanted the movie to be over. I would not recommend this movie, so I'm gonna give this one pair of glorious cut-off jean shorts out of 5. As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, links are in the description. And if you want the opportunity to recommend a movie for us to review, definitely check out the Patreon, link is also in the description. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything Bloodbath and beyond.